Texans Chiefs advantages on Sunday, long-term strategy, short-term strategy, and practice observations that matter the most. Go inside the locker room.
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the.
It is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. Appreciate y'all for being here. I was watching the end of that Chargers game against the Broncos. Two teams that the Texans could be facing in the postseason. I got to say, they're both really good football teams. They're both very well coached football teams, and those are teams I would assume the Texans would be favored over, but I mean, that's as battle tested as it gets with the opposing coaches. Both of them have the experience advantage over DeMeco Ryans, and they're both really, really good squads. Similar-ish to the Texans in that there's some limitations offensively, but that was a good piece of localized observing, if I do say so myself, when it comes to watching that ball game. It was a hell of a game, and it'll be interesting to see how the whole thing goes. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. Will Joe Mixon play? That is the question right now. If Joe Mixon doesn't play, I think it's safe to say that they're erring on the side of caution. So when we talk about strategies and we jump into strategies, that is one thing that we got to watch with the Texans. They know how important Joe Mixon is. How important do they think the 3 seed is? And does Saturday matter as much when it comes to the 3 seed? Depends how you look at it. We'll get to that in a second. But Joe Mixon, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Joe Mixon. He's been out there at practice. There's no designation. So we could see Joe Mixon out there. It will be hard to imagine him playing both games, but stranger things have happened, and quite frankly, if you win both of those games, then there's a strong chance that you lock up the 3 seed for whatever that is worth. So we'll keep an eye on that. Will Joe Mixon play? John Mechie and Juice Scruggs, they're going to be out. They're officially ruled out. The final injury report was today. We're used to it being on Friday, but it was today. So we know that John Mechie and Juice Scruggs are out. I don't know how that makes you feel. Like, do you feel like because Juice Scruggs is out there that it gives you any less of a chance to win the game? I would assume the answer to that would be no, but he's not going to be out there, and neither is John Mechie. I think it's kind of the same there, although you get even more thin at a really, really thin position at wide receiver. So those are 2 pieces of news there. You'll have no John Mechie. I think if I were guessing, I would think that we figure out that Andrew Beck is going to be active for the game in some way, shape, or form. I would keep an eye on that. Now, are they going to use him a lot at fullback? Don't know. They could use him at tight end, quite frankly. I think Irv Smith will probably be playing as well. So I think your 3 tight ends will probably be Schultz, Smith, and Andrew Beck, who has experience at fullback. So I would keep an eye on Andrew Beck. Could very well see him playing. Yeah, I would keep an eye on that. Not breaking any news or anything here. Just could see that happening. And how do the Texans approach the next 6 days? That's the interesting question. So the 3 seed layout is interesting with the Ravens and the Steelers. So the Steelers are going to have some guys out. They also got Watt pretty banged up. We don't know how effective he's going to be. If the Ravens beat the Steelers and then the Texans beat the Ravens and win one more game, then the Texans will be the 3 seed. That doesn't seem too far-fetched, assuming that you believe they can win one of the next, that they can beat Baltimore. But if they beat the Chiefs and Ravens, that's a wrap. They wrap up the 3 seed, and the final week of the season is essentially a bye. Now, based on that, you can make a case that the Baltimore game is actually more important than the Chiefs game. So if we want to overthink this, and I've been guilty of overthinking things, but if we really want to think about this, there could be a scenario where it makes more sense to rest guys and then play them against Baltimore, because then you'll be healthy against the Ravens and they'll be coming off a game against the Steelers, which is always a physical game, and they'll have to be coming to your place. Now, ideally, you win both, but it's not win 2 out of 3. It's the Ravens have to beat the Steelers, which is step 1, which we'll get a grasp of early in the day. And then the Texans have to beat the Ravens and win another ball game, whether it's Kansas City or whether it's the Titans. That's what the Texans have to do to wrap up the 3 seed. That'll become a lot more clear after the weekend. So that is something to keep a really, really close eye on, because I don't know what kind of strategy they're thinking, but it would make sense for the Texans to, in some way, think long-term. Fortunately for them, they just got to play this game and then they can figure out what the hell they want to do. But if they're thinking long-term, and you would think that they are, that little 2-piece right there is something to keep an eye on. But we'll see what happens with the weekend. The Chiefs is going to be interesting. The Texans' major advantage against the Chiefs is significant, because even the best version of the Chiefs we've seen completely hit a wall whenever this has happened. And that is the advantage on the edge. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. The Chiefs are really bad at tackle. Really bad at tackle. And when you're talking about speed and you're talking about the speed element that they might have with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't have time to throw the ball, then that's going to be a problem. And there's a lot of reason to believe that he may not be able to have a lot of time. And despite the fact I don't believe he had a high ankle sprain, he's going to have to be able to use his legs to get away from these guys on the edge. So that is a significant, beyond significant advantage that the Texans have in that area when it comes to handling the Chiefs, handling Patrick Mahomes, and handling those weapons, including Hollywood Brown, who it looks like is gonna be good to go as well. That's something the Texans are gonna have every single week, and it's one of the most important advantages that you can have. It is a quarterback equalizer to have those guys playing on the edge, and you're gonna have those guys healthy too when it matters most. The Chiefs are really bad at tackle. That's their issue. You know, we talk about the Texans offense, their offensive line. Chiefs have the same issues, except it's at tackle. It's not as much on the inside. It's more so on the outside, which is a big problem. Texans also don't have to overly commit to stopping the run, because they naturally stop the run because the defense is so disciplined and the guys are playing so well. So that's a major advantage that the Texans are going to have on the edge. The Chiefs' advantage is really just their experience and their know how to win. And they also have an advantage on the interior of the offensive line. Titus Howard, I know he got the best of Chris Jones a couple of years ago. Titus Howard, though, Jared Patterson, Shaq Mason versus Chris Jones, and a Chiefs team that's going to have to win this game. I think it's safe to say that even as good as that Titus Howard game was a couple of years ago, this is a game that the Chiefs need probably more than the Texans, like in the big scheme of things. If the Texans lose this game, okay, you still have a chance to get the 3 seed, assuming that Baltimore wins. You just have to beat Baltimore and then Tennessee. So it's not monumental. If the Chiefs lose, they got a hell of a tough schedule, and they're going to only be 1 game up on the Buffalo Bills, who got the Patriots twice and the Jets. So the Chiefs are going to need this even more than the Texans in the big scheme of things, because they're playing for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and they're playing for the first round bye that everybody wants. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. On the super chat, tier 1, not tier 2, tier 1.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Overall, do you think this is the best Texans team to reach the playoffs, assuming they are as healthy as possible? You mean like the best Texans team this season, like the best Texans team? I'll wait for you to be a little more specific on that. I do think that this defense is playing as well as they possibly can. Obviously, you would like to have some of the guys that you're missing on offense, like as far as being best. But yeah, I think as far as what you have and who's available and who's not hurt, I think that you have the opportunity to get healthy, and I think your defense is really, really good. I don't know if it's the best. I don't know if we're talking like best team ever. I don't think it's the best Texans team ever to be in the playoffs, if that's what you're talking about. But I think it could be the best version of the Texans to get in. So I do think that. Appreciate you for the soup, but yeah, who knows? Stingley versus D-Hop, Lassiter versus Brown are worthy, and who cornerback 3? Well, cornerback 3 right now is either you're going to count Jimmy Ward in the nickel, or you're going to talk about Jeff Okudah, and that's going to be interesting because I think they're, between Nuke Hopkins and Xavier Worthy, they provide different elements. And then when you talk about Hollywood Brown being a number 3 receiver, I think people are sour on Hollywood Brown because rightfully so. We've kind of been judging Hollywood Brown as, he's supposed to be the number 1 receiver. He's supposed to be the top threat. You probably took him in fantasy too early, and you were very displeased with the results. Completely different ball game with Hollywood Brown now, based on what he's asked to do. So I don't look at the Hollywood Brown the way that I would have in years past. I think right now he's just an extra weapon, an extra toy for them to add to the offense. So the question for me though is, how are the Texans going to approach the next 6 days? I think they're going all in against Kansas City, although the Mixon thing is going to be interesting. Do they elect to play Joe Mixon? I would not. And I still think you would have a chance to beat the Chiefs. This is not like some godly Kansas City Chiefs team. Even with Mahomes, they're a 3-point favorite with what they are right now. So I would not play him. I think they're going to play him now. I think they're definitely going to play him. So we get a grasp of what they're working with there. Yeah, I definitely think they do play him. I would not, though. Definitely would not. Different offense if Diggs is still in, I would agree. I mean, he's your second best receiver. Obviously, it would definitely be different. Okudah gets cooked quite often. They keep him off the field as much as they possibly can. They at least they try. They try as best they can to keep him off the field. But easier said than done sometimes there. With old Okudah. Polarizing guy, that Jeff Okudah. It's amazing what getting burned one time will do for you when it comes to the manner in which a fan base looks at you. Been limited eyes on Jeff Okudah, but that one play, it was so bad against Turpin against the Cowboys, and now it's just like, man, get Jeff Okudah out of there. I don't want to see Jeff Okudah on the field. One play will do that to you. Sometimes it'd be like that. How many points can this offense honestly score in KC? Defense will ball out, but you need points to win. Yeah, that's going to be the question every week. You can save this one, Kevin Schuler, and this is going to be the question every week. The offense. What can the offense score enough points? Is the defense going to be asked to do too much? Because I think the defense is up for the task. This is the worst matchup that the Chiefs could have with the situation with Mahomes. and with the situation with their tackles. I don't think in the AFC there's a defense you would least rather play than this Texans defense. I'm serious. With the way that they're peaking, I don't even think they've played yet. So how many points? I don't know. Right now, what are the lines? Let's see. For the point totals. The point totals at BetUS right now, if we're looking at the lines and the team totals, the point totals are right now, Kansas City is -3.5, so the line is going up. And the total points, like it's it's like 23. It's like 23, 24-ish, 23.5, anywhere from there, depending on where you look. I use BetUS. So they're expecting about 23.5. So can the Texans score 24, 28 points against the Chiefs, who have a really, really good defense? It's to be determined. I can't say with 100% certainty the answer to that is yes. I don't think they warrant that much confidence. But that's what the number is. The offense is not good. It's not good. Anything over 23 is a blessing, is what someone says. I mean, you look at what happened against Miami, like we keep hearing about, and I think they're being more realistic with us about the squad. Outside of Bobby Slowick acting like they have the greatest show on turf, Rams with Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Marshall Faulk. I mean, they've been pretty honest with us about what they are. They're opportunistic. Like it's hard to imagine them even beating the Miami Dolphins with that great defensive effort. Like Tyreek Hill didn't do a damn thing. Jonnu Smith scored a touchdown, but that was after you jumped off sides on special teams. Waddle got hurt. Obviously, that's a big deal. You kept Achane in check. And your offense didn't really sustain a single drive. They sustained one drive. They got the ball at the 28 after the Will Anderson strip. They got the ball at the 5 after the Bullock INT. And that was after the offense botched the snap, playing grab ass and not knowing what the hell they wanted to do at before the half. And then the fake punt from Frank Ross got him the ball at the 5. It's complimentary football. Complimentary football, like you got to overcome it. You got to figure out how to make do with the bad offense, but that's 17 of your 20 points. You scored 20 points against the Dolphins. And you scored 17 of those points with 38 yards of field. The 28 yards on the strip and then the 5 and the 5, and you got 17 out of the 20 points. 28 yards of field that you had to cover. It's tough. It's hard out here on these offensive streets. And, the craziest thing is you can point to a couple guys like Brevin Jordan. You can point to Stephon Diggs. But the guys they have right now, like when you hear that John Mechie's out, you don't sit there and freak out. You're like, oh, okay, well, maybe Robert Woods can do his thing. We'll see what happens with Hutchinson. It's not like there's like a big drop off, and it's bare. Did they execute? They did execute. That's their recipe for success. Like expecting this to be an elite, really, really good, awesome offense, not realistic. They did execute, and they got an elite defense. And I thought it was interesting the way that Matt Burke said that they invest a lot on defense, and sometimes it's at the detriment, and then he caught himself saying detriment. That's what it's been. But I just wish there was competence when it came to the offense. It's not even about investment. Like the investment is what it is. Like you can't buy everything. And I think they made the right investment. I'm not questioning what they did on the offense, but there's just and this is a theme, and y'all hear it all the time, but I think it's what matters the most, because there's a more than likely chance that the season's going to end, hopefully later rather than sooner, and we're going to talk about the offense. That's what we're going to be talking about. Or maybe you'll talk about the defense, but the defense is asked to do too much. Like against Detroit, you can say, well, they didn't get the stop. Well, I mean, God, what more do you want? They forced 5 turnovers. Against the Packers, they give you a chance to go to handle your business and handle that. They don't. So there's a chance that's what's going to happen. So that's why it's a thing. Omenihu and Steven Nelson revenge game. Oh man, I love Charles Omenihu. Is Steven Nelson even gonna play? Is old Steven playing? Is he in shape? Have to see about that. I don't know. I think they might try to cook Steven Nelson if he's out there. But we'll see. We're talking about Kubiak. Kubiak mastered that play action back in the day. Yeah, he was running it with Arian Foster. He had Andre. And they had an elite tight end in Owen Daniels. Right now with the Texans, I mean, you have Nico and you have Mixon. That's it. That's why it was funny. The funniest thing Bobby Slowick said was that we have elite skill guys. Really? You came from San Francisco, brother, when they were cooking. You came from San Francisco when y'all had Ayuk, McCaffrey on the back end, Debo, Kittle. Juszczyk was actually a useful player at the time. I think Jennings was there. You think they got elite skill guys here? Come on, man. You don't have to lie to kick it. I'd rather you just say we got to lean on our strengths and take advantage of the red area. Elite skill guys? Really? You really think that, sir? There is no way that he thinks that.
Damn it, Bobby.
And I don't think they're explosive. So whatever. That's enough about that. The defense is the key. And there's nothing wrong with that, rallying around the defense. Because I'll be honest, there's been times where with this organization where you've hung your hat on the defense and the offense hasn't been worth a damn. Like you've had the defense carry you into the playoffs, but you have no hope on offense. You have Brock Osweiler. Had top defense in the league for a large portion of the season. You had Brock Osweiler. You had no hope. You had Bill O'Brien calling plays. Although some people might think BOB is better than Bobby Slowick. But you have CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud can flip the switch. It's just going to be about opportunity. It's not too far-fetched to think that he can figure it out, though. Much crazier things have happened. Much crazier things have happened. Much, much, much crazier. James, shout out to James, man. I just want Bobby Slowick gone.
Damn it, Bobby.
But if we somehow get past the divisional round, they wouldn't care how bad he's been. I don't think if they lose in the first round, they're getting rid of Bobby Slowick. I don't think that happens. I think they've accepted that it's just as much personnel as anything. So I don't think there's any scenario where Bobby Slowick's gone. It's a defense, man. It's a defense. It's not about the offense. We got to train our eyes. We got to train our eyes. Ceiling might be limited because of the offense, but very good defensive teams have made runs. You got to train your eyes. It's not going to look like you thought it would. Like a lot of people, when they imagine, oh, we're going to go to the AFC Championship game, it's going to be a great year, and this team, you just imagine, man, this offense is going to cook. Look at these wide receivers. Who's even the best wide receiver? Remember that conversation? Who's the best conversation? I put out like a poll, and they were like, Tank Dell got like 20% of the votes. Tank's not playing well. He's not producing. Diggs is gone, and you don't have Nico. So it's gonna look like the defense carrying the offense, which is fine. You just have to kind of train your eyes. If you're still sitting around waiting for this offense to cook, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Damn it, Bobby.
That's not how you win. That's not how this team wins. They know that. There's a reason why at the end of the first half the other day, and they used to take pride in trying to steal points. Go back and watch the end of the first half the other day before they botched that fumble. They were not aggressively trying to score points. They were hanging their head on their defense. The only problem was they got the first down, and then all of a sudden they were like, okay, let's speed up. And when they did that, what happened? They fumbled. And then the defense bailed them out, and they ended up stealing 3 points. They know what they are. And they're good. They're good. They're a good team. They're a really good team. It's a really good defense. Quarterback's no slouch. He's going to be good. But you just got to fix the way. You got to realize what they are. They're not going out there and lighting it up. It's fine. It's a good team. It's a really good team. Not really good, but I mean, it's got potential. You got a really good defense. I don't know what is failure at this point. Define failure, Mike. I'm not picking on you. I want to know. Because I think heading into the season, were you saying Super Bowl? Were you saying AFC Championship? What is failure? Let me know, Mike. Jose swarming the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
I just tuned in minutes ago. What's the deal with the Omenihu Thomas talking about I don't F with the Texans organization? Charles always has something to say. I love Charles. I wouldn't if I were him either. He was here and it was Jack Easterby and he hated Jack Easterby. Let's hear these right here. I see shout out to Sideline Sarah. God, she's a good resource, man. Sideline Sarah is the best. But here's what Charles Omenihu had to say about the Texans. Just pulled it up on X. Let's peep the scene on good old Charles Omenihu. We hardly knew ya. Here's Charles.
But at the end of the day, I'm gonna make this clear. I don't fuck with the Texas organization at all, and I cannot wait to play them boys. I literally cannot. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be some fire with her. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna make this clear. I don't fuck with the Texas organization at all, and I cannot wait to play them boys. I literally cannot. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be some fire with her. Yeah. But
All right, gotcha. Why would he F with them? First of all, remember when they put him third on the depth chart in the preseason? Remember that? Then they gave him away, and the line by Lovie Smith was that sometimes divorce is a good thing. Yeah, I don't blame Charles Omenihu for saying that. No problem with that at all. I don't blame him at all. So I don't know. I know that this is the comment that is being talked about in Kansas City. This was Tim Settle with Greg Bailey. He'd already spoken earlier that week, but but here was Tim Settle with Greg.
And this is the top team in the league right now by the NFL, but it's nothing. I definitely see this O-line. It definitely has its leapholes, and it definitely has its their struggles. But and I feel like that we can take advantage of that. We got an elite D-line. I feel like Pat's a little banged up, so I don't know if he's gonna play or not. But I hope he's mobile enough because we coming in Arrowhead.
You guys plan to get after that?
Yeah, for sure. Pat better make a good decision. I ain't making no threats. I'm making promises.
I got you.
And this is
There you go. I'm making no threats. I'm making promises. We're gonna get after him. There's nothing you can headline porn that and put one of those clip things and try to make more of it. Yeah, they're both. I like where Omenihu and Tim Settle are coming from there. Richard swarming the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Like they say, defense wins championships. Hopefully they get it together in the offensive area. I would love to draft or trade for a real wide receiver number 2. Hey, if you're going to be at the game, Landry, I got something for you. Fire. Okay. Hey, I'm there. I'll be there. Not in KC. Maybe Christmas. Definitely in the playoffs. Damn sure. Get at me. Get at me.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Get at me. Space Age says that is old. He's still stuck there. Move on, Charles, and let it go. I mean, it's not old. They're playing this week, man. He's getting a crack at him. That was his experience. That's what Omenihu said. It ain't old. It's topical. And I mean, he was the guy they tried to make an example out of. And Charles talks too much. I remember when he first got here, it was like Bill O'Brien was like really, really anti-Charles Omenihu. Man, Charles needs to stay humble. Charles needs to do this. Charles that. Charles that. It's like, man, figure yourself out. And then when B.O.B. left, Easterby kind of was effing with Charles Omenihu. Charles Omenihu didn't F with Easterby. I remember you can get Charles started on Easterby. You get Charles started on a lot. I remember when Tom Herman was there, he didn't F with the Longhorns. Then he said that at his locker. I don't F with them. And that was the Tom Herman era. But I remember one time we were at practice. This was training camp of, I think it was 21 maybe, like right before he got traded. But Easterby used to always be on the field, and he would be like high-fiving everyone. And I would, I told someone, I nudged him. I was like, dude, watch when he goes to Omenihu. Watch what happens. And Easterby like walks over to him, and Charles just like no looks, like almost like 2 fingers like on his thing, and just kind of rolls his eyes a little bit like that. Space Age says Landry likes Charles because of his UT background. Keep it buck. I don't care if he went to UT or not. I thought he was a good player. I liked him because he was like best player during a bad time. I don't care. A lot of UT players I don't like. Lots. Some might be on the Texans. But yeah, I just thought he was a good player. I thought he was a solid rotational guy. If Tank is a 3, what was Noah Brown last year? Tank has shown he can be a 2. When has he done that? You just talking about that stretch last year where he was really good? Noah Brown last year was very valuable. No one's ever looked at Noah Brown as a 2. I mean, he played at an elite level for a few weeks stretch, but Noah Brown's a guy who can't stay healthy. He's a back end guy, but he's someone who could have helped this team. That's for damn sure. And we don't know whether or not he would have gotten hurt. But I mean, has Tank has shown he can be a 2? Really? Just based on that stretch? So has Dameon Pierce showed he can be an RB1 based on his little rookie year stretch? I don't know about that. I mean, we'll see what happens with Tank. We'll see if once the surroundings are better, he figures out, hell, he might make some plays this year. He's still got a lot of time. He looks pretty dynamic on punt returns. But he's shown he's going to be a 2? What do you mean? We have a larger body of work of Tank Dell showing he can't be a 2 than that he can. Which one weighs more? I hold Tank to a high standard. I'm not there. I don't grade him on a curve. But I mean, situations or not, the production should be higher than it is. I mean, the 4 bad games he's had, some of the drops, sure, there's some missed opportunities, but a 2? When has he done that? And the other thing that's crazy, and shout out to Space Age, talking about the Charles Omenihu, Texas. Let's be serious. And I don't really talk about keeping it a buck. I'm not really like a keep a buck. I'm always going to do that. But let's just be honest. If Tank Dell didn't go to U of H, people wouldn't be as Soft on him? I mean, it doesn't even come up. It doesn't even come up. I mean, John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson get more crap than Tank Dell when it comes to the large body of work. Think about it. If Tank Dell had gone to, I don't know, pick a school that's not U of H. If he'd gone to USC or something like that would be more of a talking point. That I hold Tank Dell to more of a higher standard. I expect more from Tank Dell. I don't expect one catch for -3 yards. I don't expect a catchless game. I expect one catch for 23, 2 for 30-something. That's 4 of his games this year. I mean, I keep hearing how much they miss Stephon Diggs. I don't disagree with that. But wasn't he supposed to be one of the top number 3 receivers? CJ Stroud says he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. And I know that there's always a sense of, oh, well, behind this offensive line, you can't get anything done. Why does Nico Collins get it done? Why does Joe Mixon get it done? I don't get it. Jerome, I know this is going to be a smart-ass comment. Damn, Landry flipped on Tank quick. LOL. Went from not really believing him when we drafted him to picking him early in fantasy. Now he can't be a 2. I did pick him. I picked him way too early in fantasy. This is a fact. It's not a flip. It's reality. Are you pleased with what Tank Dell's done this year? It's been a bad season. And I believed in him fine in the 3rd round. I wanted Jackson Smith and Jigba with that 12th. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba's the truth. I'm a big JSN guy. But in the 3rd round, he was fine. But, I mean, come on. Like, there is no excuse. You can blame Bobby Slowick, and I mean, that's easy to do. You can blame the offensive line.
Damn it, Bobby.
But he should be producing at a higher level. Let's be serious. I'm not sitting here saying Tank Dell should have 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. But, I mean, good Lord. Stephon Diggs was producing. Some people were talking about Stephon Diggs being washed. I mean, look at this game log. This is not okay for your number 2 wide receiver, for whatever the reason is. 2 catches for 26, 1 catch for 23, 3 for 72. We had the 6 for 126 against the Jets. Had that big play. 4 for 35. 4 for 38. 1 for -3. 3 for 40. Why wasn't Stephon Diggs doing that? If it's just so difficult. It's okay to hold him to a higher standard. It's all right. I mean, like he's an adult. He can be a good football player. But you talk about sophomore slumps, that's a sophomore slump. Like, let's just be serious about it. He's more than capable. Yeah. Okay. Well, then what's going on? What's going on with it then? Let's get it going. Do they need to get him involved more often? Do they need to draw up plays for him? Figure it out. No excuse for that. Because that's pathetic. And when Bobby Slowick goes up there and says, well, we got really good skill guys, and, then where the hell they at? The offensive line's preventing you from doing it? Get the ball to him quick. He's good in space. Get him the rock. Let him make some plays. Figure it out. I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying that's unacceptable. And it's something that can be fixed. I'm not going to sit here and pound the table for John Mechie or Xavier Hutchinson or Robert Woods to do work. Come on. That's an occasional 11-yard chain move and jammed at the line of scrimmage. That's not going to happen. But Tank Dell should be producing better. Whether it's a Bobby thing, whether it's a Tank thing, whether it's an offensive line thing, whether it's all of it, that's crazy for a number 2 receiver to not be able to step up. That's unacceptable. They got to get that going. It's a must. Jake says, Merry Christmas, Landry. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. He is swarming the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
All I want for the Texans is a conference championship appearance. If not, we all know why. Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
I don't think it's far-fetched to think they can do that. The defense is good enough to where they can get this defense can be nasty enough to be able to do that. I don't think that's the craziest wish. That's not crazy at all. Now, will the offense take advantage? Get Tank involved. Do whatever you got to do. Figure it out. Cebu says he'd like to see the stats of deep shots to Tank last year versus this year. Feels like more last year. You could be right. I mean, there were a couple of games where he was just, I mean, the Jacksonville game when he had his breakout, was that week 3? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be an opportunity thing. Figure it out. You think you have really, really good skill position guys, figure it out. Because you're kind of telling on yourself if you're Bobby Slowick. I mean, you're hardcore telling on yourself. If you're gonna sit there and say, we have really, really good skill position guys, and then those are the splits between the guys. Telling on yourself, my friend. Just figure it out. It's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. So we'll see. We'll see how that whole thing goes. I'm excited for it. It's going to be one of the best football weekends ever. I mean, one of the best football weekends ever. You got the Texans on Saturday. You got 3 college football games in between. One of them is going to start an hour before the SMU Penn State game. After the Texans play, you got the Longhorns hosting Clemson. And then you got Tennessee going to the freaking Horseshoe in the crappy ass weather. It's going to be wild. Grant says or asks about the offense. Why are the Texans consistently approaching the line so late in the clock? It feels like Stroud doesn't have hardly any time to look and assess the defense because we have to hurry and snap. I don't know what that dynamic is. I know that's kind of been like a popular topic in San Francisco because I kind of keep an eye on what goes on in San Francisco. Just because it seems like a lot of my timeline is that because I follow like Grant Cohn analysis because I think it's freaking funny. But I don't know if CJ is able to go change plays at the line of scrimmage. It doesn't appear like when you see Jared Goff go to the line of scrimmage or you see Josh Allen or Mahomes, it seems like there's a lot going on. I don't know what the freedom is for CJ, and I don't know if CJ is good at doing that or not. I don't know. Some quarterbacks are, and I have no idea. So I don't know the tempo. It doesn't feel like the play clock's just wearing down. It doesn't feel like a lot is going on pre-snap, but I don't know. Like it doesn't like as far as like the screen game, it's frustrating to watch all these college games and see all these like dynamic screen games and the tempo and all that, and then watch the Texans and it not go down. But I have no idea what the dynamic is, what the freedom is with Bobby Slowick and CJ Stroud at the line of scrimmage. I don't know what that is. they'll say he has some freedom, but you can tell when someone's really sniffing out a play and figuring it out. You're seeing a little bit more of it lately, but I don't know what that dynamic is. I also think a lot of times we kind of assume that the quarterback. I mean, that's hard to do. It's hard to do. Arts by Beware. Swarm in the super chat. Appreciate you.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
I just hope the Texans are able to do well enough and get enough rest between those two games. I also miss Petrie. Yeah, Petrie. Jimmy Ward's been effing good, though. Jimmy Ward's really effing good in that role. Really effing good in that role. So you miss Petrie, but Jimmy's been really good. Really, really good. And he's been really good in the nickel for a while now. So I hear you, no doubt. But and you would like to have Jimmy instead of Eric Murray out there. But I do think that he's been really, really good in that as a replacement. He being Jimmy Ward. I think he's done a hell of a job. Hell of a job. Like a borderline incredible job. Jimmy Ward. I'm a big fan. But yeah, Petrie, I think Petrie could get an extension. I would not be opposed to a Petrie extension. Maybe team friendly. I don't think Christian Harris gets his extension. For sure. What is CJ getting his O-line for Christmas? Need that, Landry. I don't know. There wasn't anything in the locker room today. Man. Hopefully nothing. Hopefully nothing. But it does kind of seem like I saw Brock Purdy got the O lineman some cars, and then Mahomes got him some expensive watches that might actually be more expensive than the cars, and some other stuff. So yeah. Odds were plus 900 to win the Super Bowl at the start of the season. It's now plus 3,500. Our offense capitalizes on turnovers. I like the odds. Dude, at 35-1, I would sprinkle something on it. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm betting on the Texans to win straight up. But at 35, yeah, we're betting that. That's a solid bet. You can take that. 35-1. Put 20 on it, 700. Charge it to the game if you lose. I haven't looked at the odds, but if those are the odds, yeah, go get that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's some good ass odds right there. 35. That seems a little bit high. I don't know where you're looking at it, but I'll take your word for it. If that's what that is. Real good odds. So peep that. Same odds to hit green on the roulette table. James knows about that roulette. CJ should get him Chick-fil-A gift cards. Man, that's a good gift though, bro. I'm a gift card guy. Roulette table odds, crazy. 35-1. You sure about that? Well, we got NFL futures to win the NFC Championship. That's all I see right now. That would be wild. That would be extra wild. 35-1, you got to do it. Richard back on the soup. Tank was good last year, but we need a real number 2. Tank fell off. Don't know what's up with him. He's a number 3 at best. Diggs is washed. I expected more from him. And we need to extend Stingley ASAP. I'll see you at the Raven game, Landry. Yeah, I'm not going to be at the Raves. I'm going to be at the Moms. I'll stream though, but I'll be at the playoff game. Ravens, nah. Everyone's like Beyonce. Man, I've seen Beyonce in concert. It was actually kind of okay. I got hung up on in Kansas City today. I was on the Kansas City flagship today. They said, man, I'm jealous you get to see Beyonce. I was like, it's all right. Saw her in concert. It was all right. It's not bad. It's cool. He's all upset with me. It's not bad. Not bad. Seen better. Titus would like the gift cards. Man, y'all are just being mean now. Yeah, she all right. See, Arts by Beware. It's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's a bunch, let's just be honest, a bunch of creepy dudes that are just kind of standing about it. Like kind of being weird about it. Like she's singing and dancing. Like, okay. Not great. Bruno Mars was a better show. You couldn't pay me to go to a Taylor Swift concert. I know people are dropping hundos on that. Is she still on TV a lot? Seems like they kind of died that down a little bit. You know, if it's Netflix and it's Christmas and it's all that, she's going to be there. I'm assuming they're still dating. I don't hear as much about it. But yeah, 100 on it, 35-1. That's a lot of bread. Who better than B, like in concert? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying she's not hot. I'm just saying like the concert's the concert. Not bad. It's fine. Doing her thing. Jerome's going to have to shut the door and put a sock on the door whenever 20-minute halftime. I'll be right back. Steven says Omenihu talks a lot for a guy with two more sacks than Will Anderson Jr. in 4 more seasons. Charles always talks. Yeah, he's always been a talker. So we'll see how it goes. Kenyon Greek could be the swing guard. He could. Putting Kenyon Green on the field is malpractice. Poor guy. Guy works his ass off. Appreciate the soup tea. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe, like, right along. It's going to be a fun one. The week of practice is complete. Tomorrow, off day for the Texans. Not an off day here. SNL get you started on this channel at 9. Subscribe to the SNL channel. Get your game faces on. It's going to be a hell of a week of pigskin. Fun time to be alive. Fun time to speak to you. Appreciate y'all for rolling through.
Headlock, localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.